Okay, people, tonight I'm having a cocktail, a non alcoholic cocktail. Cocktail. This is what Dominicans should be preparing to have a cocktail, a cocktail party. So, people, today I read on DNO. Well, I heard it on first on Matt. Then, when I heard them talking about it, I went to DNO to look for the story. And Mr. Wicks here, he made some kind of press release, published it on DNO to say that it was all within law enforcement right to use expired tear gas. People, we're talking about 8 years and 5 years expired tear gas on the people of Salisbury because they were protesting, exercising their democratic and constitutional rights, and seeking redress for their grievances. And you see them here, this riot squad, they came with the riot gear and their tear gas dispensers and their guns and everything to squash the people's demonstrations. Mr. Wicks was involved in some way or other in the operation. Now, Mr. Wicks has gained a lot of credibility from the Dominican people because they thought he had guts and he could speak truth to power. And they saw him as an upstanding man. He made some comments some time ago, which, the people were very impressed with. He was the PRO of the police department at this point. When he made the comments, which the powers that be were not very pleased with, they took this position away from him and they gave it to somebody else. That somebody else lasted in that position for a couple months and they saw that Mr. Wicks was really the right person for the job. So they gave him back the job of PRO. Mr. Wicks' job right now is to whitewash the police force and apologize for the behavior of the government and the police force. He was always in Matt. He loves calling into Matt's program and telling people what a professional police force that there is in Dominica. He couldn't say two words if one of them was not professional, and the other one was police force. So last week, as we all know, this riot squad there went and dispensed expired tear gas on the people of Salisbury. And Matt has been trying to get in touch with Mr. Wicks for a long time now. Mr. Wicks became a no show. Only to find out that today he wrote a press release and put it on DNO. Well, people who think they know Mr. Wicks are saying that no, this press conference did not come from Mr. Wicks because this is not his verbiage, this is not his wording, this is not his style. But Mr. Wicks is not saying anything to Matt. Instead, he is going on the hang or DBS or wherever he is going tomorrow. People, I have always wondered if you stand for something, if you stand by your convictions, why won't anybody in Dominica resign from a position based on their convictions and their values and the principles, what they stand for. You know, I kind of feel for Mr. Wicks because I too was, you know, getting to the point where I was saying, Mr. Wicks, he's different. He has some credibility. But right now, Mr. Wicks, right now, I don't know. I don't know Mr. Wicks. I'm having a non alcoholic cocktail. I don't know Mr. Wicks. Mr. Wicks, if I were you, I would not be in this position, whitewashing the police force and being an apologist for the government, which is what you're doing. And who else could do it better than you? Since you have, created some goodwill and some credibility with the Dominican people. There is no better person than you, Mr. Wicks. Mr. Wicks, you are not a spring chicken anymore. You are on your kind of, kind of last days in the police force. What else do you want? You can resign now, Mr. Wicks. You can resign now if you want to stand by your convictions, what you believe in. Why don't you resign instead of making these people use you to do their dirty work? And Mr. Wicks, Mr. Wicks, what do you want your legacy to be, Mr. Wicks? What do you want your legacy to be? And for the people of Dominica, the people of Salisbury, I understood they have arrest warrants waiting to execute this weekend to come on and arrest you en masse. Have a cocktail party. Have a cocktail party. I want to say special kudos to Sparks, Hector John. I heard him this afternoon, and he said he's going to stand by his constituents, and if they are going to arrest one person, they better be prepared to arrest the whole village of Salisbury. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I am talking about, people. This is the kind of determination and resilience and standing up to the powers that be that we need in Dominica. Not people that will fold and roll over and play dead anytime they see this in their vicinity. Well done, Sparks. Thumbs up to Sparks and thumbs down to Mr. Wicks. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good night. Have a cocktail party, people. Have a cocktail party.